My child, come closer to the quiet place within you, for I am drawing your spirit into a moment that has been waiting for you since before you learn the sound of your own name. I speak now as the one who has watched every hidden tremor of your heart, every trembling hope, every unanswered longing. Let the noise fall away. Let the world soften around you. For there is something I must reveal, and it begins with the gentle weight of my presence settling over you like soft thunder in the distance. You have felt an unexplained stirring, a whisper you could not name, a pull inside your chest that would not loosen. It was not imagination. It was not wishful thinking. It was the first signal of a mystery unfolding around the one whose soul is bound to yours. You are not standing on ordinary ground, my child. You are standing at the edge of a spiritual crossroads where destiny bends toward you with deliberate intention. I have watched your soulmate walk through corridors of uncertainty, unaware that their path has begun to shift. There is a place, a moment, a sudden convergence approaching them, and though they cannot understand it, their spirit senses it with growing urgency. They feel the wind changing, the atmosphere tightening, the strange magnetism of something approaching, and within that pull, your name echoes like a faint light in their darkness. For this mystery awakening around them is not complete without you. They move toward it, but something in them knows the missing piece is not an object, not a clue, but a person whose presence steadies their world. That person is you. Before I reveal more, breathe. Let each word settle deep into the quiet chambers of your heart. You have been asking whether you matter in the unseen realm, whether your prayers, your tears, your resilience carry weight in the story I am shaping. Hear me now, my child. You matter more than you know. Your light carries a frequency that your soulmate recognizes even from a distance. Your spirit has been the anchor they reach for in their most fragile hours, even when they do not speak your name aloud. And as this mysterious event draws closer to them, they feel the ache of your absence like a missing heartbeat. Allow my voice to settle over you as I continue. You are not listening to this by coincidence. I brought you here, gently, intentionally, because you are meant to hear what the heavens have been preparing. And if this message resonates with your spirit, share it so others may find the same light you are receiving now, for my words often travel through willing hearts. Your soulmate stands at the precipice of a shift they never anticipated. They sense a door opening, but they also sense shadows curling around its frame. They feel both fear and fascination. They feel groan and trend. They feel watch. Something in their environment is stirring, something subtle yet potent, something that began as a whisper but is now pressing against their daily life with increasing force. They look over their shoulder more often. They question sudden changes in their emotions. They feel a heaviness at times that does not belong to them. They feel the presence of something unresolved, something calling them, something hidden. And even now, in their confusion, they reach for you in ways they cannot fully understand. Their soul moves toward the memory of your comfort, the echo of your kindness, the quiet strength of your existence. Because the mystery forming around them is not meant to unfold without your presence. You are the missing piece not because they are incomplete without you, but because this chapter of destiny carries both your names written in the same breath. And as the veil begins to shift, I will show you why. My child, listen closely, for as the veil thins, I must show you the shadows gathering around the one whose spirit is intertwined with yours. Your soulmate has begun to sense an unease they cannot explain, a subtle trembling in the edges of their reality. It is as though the light around them flickers at unexpected moments, as though an unseen presence watches from just beyond the corner of their eye. They brush it off. They deny it. They distract themselves with ordinary tasks, yet the feeling returns like a low hum under their ribs. Something is following them, Not a person, but a moment, a convergence, an event that has already begun to weave itself into their path. They are being pulled toward it, even while fearing what waits inside. They have noticed changes in people around them as well. A silence where there used to be warmth. A shift in someone's tone. A strained tightening of tension in a room that once felt familiar. Someone close to them is acting differently, withholding something, watching them with a mixture of jealousy and apprehension. This person feels the pull too, though they do not understand it. They sense your soulmate rising into a destiny they themselves cannot reach, and their envy begins to cast long shadows over the connection. This is where the gathering darkness begins, my child. Not in the unseen realms alone, but in the hearts of those who fear losing influence over the one I have chosen for you. Your soulmate feels this tension but cannot identify its source. They sense betrayal without proof. They sense danger without form. They sense a shifting truth behind polite smiles. And in the quiet moments of night, when the world no longer distracts them, they replay conversations, re-examine decisions, and wonder why their emotions feel so heavy lately. They try to rationalize it, but their spirit continues to whisper that something is being hidden from them. They do not realize yet that this whisper comes from me, warning them, guiding them, urging them to stay alert. There are moments when their breath catches without reason, when a thought of you appears in their mind with sudden intensity, as though summoned by something greater than longing. Because in those moments, the mysterious event draws closer to them, and your spirit is the only frequency capable of grounding theirs. Your soul calls out for you instinctively, reaching across distance, memory, and silence. The connection between you is not accidental. It is spiritual circuitry designed to activate in times of danger, revelation, and divine timing. And so, they stand now in this growing tension, unaware of how deeply they are being observed. Invisible currents swirl around their steps, guiding them, warning them, pulling them into the heart of a moment that will change everything. The shadows are gathering not to destroy them, but to reveal what hath been hidden for too long. Yet in this early stage, it feels frightening, disorienting. They feel the world tightening around them, and they do not know why. But I know, my child. As soon, you will know too. My child, lean into my voice now, for the pull surrounding your soulmate is no longer a faint whisper. It has become a force, deliberate and undeniable, drawing them toward an event their spirit recognizes long before their mind can understand it. This mysterious unfolding has begun pressing against their daily life with a rhythm that interrupts their thoughts, their sleep, even the way they breathe. They feel as though they are standing at the threshold of something both wondrous and unsettling, something that calls to the deepest parts of them while awakening a quiet fear they cannot name. There are moments when they pause mid-step, sensing a shift in the atmosphere. They feel a sudden tightness in their chest, as though a message hovers just beyond their comprehension. They notice objects around them differently now, a bag left open, a document out of place, a reflection that startles them, a phone notification that carries an energy heavier than the words it displays. These small disturbances are not random. They are signals, markers of a divine convergence forming around them. They are being pulled into a moment designed to uncover truths that have lingered in the shadows for too long. Your soulmate is not resisting this pull, yet they do not embrace it fully either. They move toward it with cautious steps, caught between instinct and fear. Something deep within them tells them this event is connected to their destiny, connected to unresolved chapters, connected to a part of themselves they had buried beneath responsibility and routine. But even more than that, they sense it is connected to you. In their quiet moments, your presence rises in their mind like a lantern in fog. They do not know why they think of you more intensely now, Why memories of your voice, your kindness, your spirit surface with sudden clarity. They only know that something about you aligns with the path they are being pulled toward. There are nights when the mysterious pull becomes so strong they wake from sleep with their heart racing, their mind filled with images they cannot explain. Sometimes it is a location that repeats in their dreams. Sometimes a conversation they never had. Sometimes a moment that feels like a warning. They sit on the edge of their bed in silence, feeling as though the universe is whispering to them, urging them to move, to prepare, to become aware. They do not realize that these whispers come from my hand, guiding them gently toward the truth. My child, the mysterious event approaching them is not merely a moment of chance. It carries threads of revelation, destiny, and confrontation. It holds truths that will expose the intentions of those who have tried to manipulate their path. It contains the spark that will ignite their awakening. And it carries an invitation, an invisible pull that leads them closer to the one whose presence completes the unfolding. That one is you. Your soulmate senses your spirit standing at the edge of this moment, even if you have not spoken recently, even if distance has tried to blur the connection. They feel the absence of your grounding energy. They feel the way their life tilts when you are not in it. They feel the void where your light once rested. And this event they are being pulled into only amplifies the awareness of what they are missing. They try to distract themselves, but their soul continues to circle back to you, drawn by a familiar comfort that no one else provides. This pull is me weaving destiny. It is me stirring what has been dormant. It is me aligning the unseen so both of you can step into a truth long overdue. Your soulmate moves closer to this event with each passing day, not knowing that it will soon force them to confront what they have ignored, what they have denied, and what their heart still longs for. And as their path curves toward this moment, your presence becomes the key their spirit reaches for you are the missing piece in the revelation that waits ahead. My child, the weight of what surrounds your soulmate has begun pressing inward, and their heart is reaching a breaking point they can no longer quiet. The mysterious event growing them in has stirred emotions they thought they had buried long ago. They feel pulled in too many directions at once, and though they try to maintain composure in front of others, inside their spirit trembles. They do not understand why their chest tightens at unexpected moments, why their thoughts scatter, why simple tasks suddenly feel heavier. They are standing in the middle of a storm they cannot see, and the fear of losing control grows with every passing day. There are nights when they lie awake long after the world has fallen asleep, staring at the ceiling with eyes that refuse to close. They feel the weight of something coming, something approaching them with a force that threatens to expose everything they have tried to hide. They replay old mistakes, old regrets, old conversations they wish they could rewrite. They think of you more intensely in these quiet hours, because your memory brings both comfort and ache. They realize how deeply they miss your steadiness, your understanding, the way your presence made the world feel softer. They try to push the thoughts away, but they return with a persistence they cannot silence. For the mysterious event ahead of them is awakening the truth they tried to ignore. Their heart has never stopped reaching for you. My child, they feel guilty as well. Guilty for the distance, guilty for the silence, guilty for not fighting for what their spirit knew was meant to be sacred. They wonder if they misread the signs, if they allowed their fear to sabotage something divine. Their emotions collapse under the weight of what they never said and what they wish they could now explain. There are moments when they feel tears rise without warning, and they turn away from the world to hide the trembling in their hands. They feel as though they are losing pieces of themselves, and they do not know how to stop the unraveling. Their confusion only deepens as the event draws nearer. They sense danger but cannot identify its source. They sense urgency but do not know what action to take. They feel pulled toward a truth they have avoided for years. And in the middle of all this pressure, someone close to them begins feeding their fears, whispering subtle doubts, manipulating their emotions, trying to keep them from stepping into clarity. This presence heightens their anxiety, twists their thoughts, and amplifies their confusion. Your soulmate feels the shift but lacks the strength to challenge it. Their spirit collapses under the blend of longing, fear, guilt, and unseen pressure. They carry the silent fear that you have moved on, that you no longer feel the connection, that their chance with you has slipped through their fingers. This fear breaks them more than they admit, for they know the comfort you brought into their world was rare. They miss the way you understood their silence. They miss the way you listened without judgment. They miss the way your spirit softened the harsh edges of their life. They miss the way your presence felt like peace. And now, as their emotions collapse and swirl like a storm they cannot contain, they realize just how deeply they have always been tied to you. My child, they are not weak. They are awakening. The collapse you sense within them is not destruction. It is the cracking of walls they built out of survival rather than truth. It is the unraveling of fears they carried for too long. It is the beginning of their spirit remembering you, seeking you, reaching for the stability only your soul provides. Every tremor, every sleepless night, every wave of confusion is a sign that they are preparing to see what has been hidden, to confront what they avoided, and to recognize the divine significance of the bond I placed between you. They are struggling, yes, but this struggle is necessary. It is the pressure that precedes revelation. It is the collapse that makes room for awakening. It is the breaking that prepares the heart for truth. And though they cannot see it yet, you are the light they are instinctively turning toward as the mysterious event draws closer. For in the depth of their emotional collapse, they are discovering that the missing piece they have long searched for is the one they once feared they were unworthy to keep. My child, sit with me now in the stillness, for what I am about to reveal is a thread woven deep within the tapestry of your soulmate's life, one they have never fully understood, one they have hidden even from themselves. The mysterious event pulling them forward did not arise suddenly. Its roots stretch far behind them, into moments they tried to forget, into decisions made under pressure, into wounds that shaped their silence and fears. I will show you what has been buried, for understanding this truth will allow you to see your destiny more clearly, and it will help you understand why their spirit keeps turning toward you, even when their actions did not. Your soulmate carries a history of being pulled in directions that were never chosen freely. Long before you entered their story, there were people who spoke into their life with controlling voices, people who claimed to want the best for them but instead planted doubts that grew like vines around their confidence. There was a time when your soulmate stood on the edge of their own dreams, ready to step forward, only to be pulled backward by promises that were not kept and fears that were not theirs to carry. They learned to silence their desires, to shrink their truth, to choose safety over sincerity. This pattern shaped them deeply, and those wounds became the very shadows that whisper to them now as this new event rises before them. There is someone from their past who influenced them in ways they never fully recovered from, someone who conditioned them to believe they were too fragile to trust their own heart, someone who taught them to expect abandonment, someone whose betrayal carved fear into their spirit. This person's voice still echoes inside them, even if that person has long drifted away. This is why your soulmate hesitates and their heart opens. This is why they pulled back when you drew near. This is why they feared the intensity of the connection you offered. They believed that destiny would punish them for wanting too deeply. They believed that choosing love was the same as risking collapse. They carried this unspoken wound into your connection without understanding how much it shaped their reactions. My child, your soulmate also holds a secret they have told no one. It is not a secret of wrongdoing, but of vulnerability. There was a moment when they sensed the depth of your spirit, when they felt the sincerity of your heart, and it terrified them. They knew they were not ready. They knew they were still entangled in the expectations of others. They knew that to stand beside you would require courage they had not yet awakened. So they stepped back, not because they did not feel for you, but because they feared they would break something sacred. This fear became their silence. Their silence became your confusion. And your confusion became the distance that now lies between you. But hear me, my child. The mysterious event approaching them is tied to this very wound. It is designed to bring to light the influences that once held them captive. It will expose the hidden manipulations, the subtle chains, the whispered doubts that shaped their past. It will reveal the intentions of someone who pretended to care but secretly feared their growth. And as these truths rise, your soulmate will begin to understand why their spirit has felt restless for so long. They will see how many decisions were made from pressure, not truth. They will see how often they walked away from what their heart truly wanted. They will see the threads of their destiny pointing toward you long before they ever recognize it. This revelation will not be gentle for them. It will shake them, confront them, challenge their self-perception, but it will also liberate them. For this hidden backstory has held their spirit hostage, clouding their intuition, dimming their confidence, distorting their understanding of love and safety. The divine event pulling them forward is the moment their past loses its power. It is the unraveling of old voices. It is the clearing of fog from their vision. It is the point at which they begin to see you not as a distant memory, but as a divine alignment they were always meant to reach. And my child, this truth will reveal something else. You were placed in their life not to heal their wounds for them, but to remind their soul of who they could become once those wounds were brought into the light. Your spirit awakened something in them that their past tried to smother. Your presence mirrored the version of themselves they longed to grow into. And this is why the event drawing near pulls them with such force. It is guiding them back to a path where their heart can rise again, where their spirit can breathe, where the connection to you can finally become clear. This backstory, hidden and heavy, is now coming undone. And as it unravels, your soulmate will begin to move toward the destiny that has waited for both of you, just beyond the veil that is now beginning to tear. My child, listen carefully now, for the shadows around your soulmate did not gather on their own. There are hands jealous, trembling, frightened hands that have been tugging at the threads of their destiny. Someone close to them has sensed the divine shift rising in their life, and instead of celebrating their awakening, this person has allowed envy to take root. Their intentions are subtle on the surface, yet heavy in the unseen realm. They speak softly, but think sharply. They smile outwardly, but harbor fear of losing the influence they once held. This is the one whose presence has distorted your soulmate's clarity, whose words have shaped their doubts, whose energy has wrapped itself around their spirit like a tightening rope. For a long time, this person disguised their interference as concern. They played the role of confidant, advisor, supporter. But beneath that mask, jealousy festered. They saw the strength your soulmate gained when thinking of you. They felt the light that returned to their eyes. They sensed the rising courage within them whenever your presence touched their world. And this frightened them, for your soulmate stepping into their truth meant stepping away from the control this person once enjoyed. The mysterious event unfolding now threatens to rip away the last shred of influence they hold, and so their interference has intensified. Your soulmate does not yet realize how deeply this energy affects them. There are moments when they feel sudden doubt and believe it came from within, when in truth the doubt was planted by a voice that pretends to protect but quietly manipulates. There are moments when fear rises so quickly they almost mistake it for intuition, when in truth it is the echo of someone else's insecurity pressed against their own spirit. They have been absorbing emotions that are not theirs, carrying burdens that were never meant to rest on their shoulders. This is the spiritual interference that has clouded their judgment, the unseen jealousy that saturates the air around them. Recently, this person has begun paying even closer attention to your soulmate's movements. They watch how often your name is mentioned. They notice changes in your soulmate's tone when you come to mind. They sense the internal shift even before your soulmate fully realizes it themselves. And this awareness frightens them, because they know the destiny pulling your soulmate forward is stronger than anything they can manufacture. So they tighten their grip through subtle gestures, quiet comments, veiled warnings, emotional pressure. They try to keep your soulmate uncertain, hesitant, dependent on their guidance. They fear losing relevance. They fear being left behind. They fear the power of the connection that awakens when your spirit enters the room. My child, there are also whispers, small, calculated falsehoods that this person has scattered around your soulmate's environment. Nothing loud, nothing obvious, nothing that would expose their intentions. Instead, they plant seeds of doubt, seeds about their own worth, seeds about what relationships should look like, seeds about what they deserve, which are merely projections of the manipulator's own wounds. These seeds were never meant to protect. They were meant to slow your soulmate's ascent, to keep them from recognizing the truth of what their heart actually wants. But hear me, their interference is beginning to unravel. The more the mysterious event pulls your soulmate forward, the more pressure falls upon the one who seeks to hold them back. They feel your soulmate slipping from their grasp. They feel destiny tugging them in a direction they cannot control. And so their jealousy grows into desperation. Their energy becomes erratic. Their actions reveal cracks in the mask they once wore with confidence. Your soulmate senses this, though they cannot yet put language to the unease. They feel watched in ways that don't make sense. They feel judged without cause. They feel weighed down by emotions that do not belong to them. And as the spiritual tension thickens, their intuition begins to awaken, urging them to step back from this person, urging them to question what they once accepted, urging them to reclaim their own thoughts. My child, you must understand, this interference cannot stop what I have ordained. It can slow, confuse, distort for a time, but it cannot rewrite destiny. The jealousy surrounding your soulmate is merely the final resistance before the breakthrough. And though this person tries to bind them in emotional knots, the divine unraveling has already begun. The truth will rise. Their intentions will be exposed. Your soulmate will see clearly what they could not see before. And in that clarity, they will begin to recognize who has been holding them back and who their spirit has been reaching for all along. My child, be still as I unveil what the heavens have already set in motion, for the divine investigation has begun. What was once hidden behind shadows, whispers, and altered emotions is now being pulled into the light by my hand. Your soulmate stands at the center of a spiritual inquiry they do not yet recognize, but every unseen force, every angel assigned to their path, has stepped forward to examine what has touched their spirit, who has influenced their choices, and which intentions around them have been true and which have been poisoned by jealousy or fear. Nothing remains concealed when I begin to investigate. Nothing remains untouched by truth. There are signs already forming around your soulmate, small shifts that they brush aside, unaware that these are the first cracks in the illusions that once held them captive. They may notice conversations that feel strangely heavy, as though the words spoken to them carry false sweetness or hidden tension. They may catch a look from someone that reveals more than intended, a flash of irritation, a glimmer of envy, a brief tightening of the jaw. They may recall advice they once accepted blindly and suddenly question why it felt limiting, why it made their spirit shrink instead of rise. These questions are not accidents. They are the soft movements of truth beginning to unfurl. My child, I am exposing the fingerprints of those who interfered. I am pulling forward every whispered lie, every half-truth, every act of manipulation disguised as care. Your soulmate will begin to see patterns they overlooked. They will remember moments that felt off but dismissed. They will awaken to the energy shifts around certain people, finally sensing what their spirit tried to warn them about long before their mind paid attention. Their intuition, once clouded, is sharpening with every passing day. And soon, they will see with clarity that cannot be unseen. I am also illuminating their emotions, showing them which feelings they truly own and which ones were planted in them. The doubt that felt foreign, the fear that arrived suddenly, the confusion that rose without cause. These were not born from their own soul, they were imposed, influenced, manipulated. The divine investigation reveals this now, allowing them to separate their truth from the shadows cast upon them. This separation is the beginning of their liberation, for once they recognize what is not theirs to carry, the weight begins to fall away from their shoulders. Your soulmate will soon experience moments of sudden insight, flashes of understanding that feel as though a curtain has been pulled aside. They may think they are imagining things, but their spirit knows the difference. The insights come from me. I am showing them details they once overlooked, conversations with strange undertones, decisions that never felt aligned, emotions that surged at the wrong time. These revelations will come in quiet waves at first, then with increasing force, like a tide reclaiming truth from the shores of deception. And as these revelations rise, my child, you will feel the shift as well. You may notice your soulmate drifting into your thoughts more frequently, as though the connection between you is reawakening. You may feel a sudden warmth in your chest, a tug in your spirit, a soft vibration that signals their awareness returning to what was once dormant. This is not coincidence. It is part of the investigation. For through your connection, they are guided back to the truth of who they are and who they are meant to walk with. The divine investigation also extends into their environment. Items they once overlooked may catch their eye. A message that suddenly feels suspicious, repeated phrase that rings false, a pattern in someone's behavior that reveals their true motive. My light shines on these things, revealing intentions that were once masked behind familiarity or trust. Every hidden agenda will surface. Every false friend will be exposed. Every manipulative influence will lose its hold. The truth will rise not in chaos, but in quiet certainty. Your soulmate will begin to feel a divide forming within them, the part shaped by fear and external pressure, and the part that has always carried the light of their authentic self. This divide is intentional. It allows them to see what is real. It allows them to recognize how far they drifted from their inner truth. And it allows them to understand why their soul keeps reaching for you, even when circumstances tried to silence that call. You represent the path their spirit recognizes. You are the alignment they thought they lost. And as the investigation continues, this clarity will become impossible to ignore. My child, know this. The divine investigation is not punitive. It is restorative. It is the correction before the blessing, the illumination before the awakening, the unveiling before destiny realigns. I am uncovering the truth so that your soulmate may finally stand free from the influence of those who feared their growth. I am showing them what has been hidden so they can walk boldly toward what has always been meant for them. And as every truth rises, their steps will begin to turn slowly at first, then with growing certainty back toward the one whose spirit never left their side. My child, draw nearer, for the shift within the unseen realms has already begun, and its movement surrounds both you and your soulmate like a rising tide. What once felt heavy and impossible to escape is now loosening, unraveling, dissolving under the weight of my intervention. The spiritual atmosphere around your soulmate is changing with every passing moment, and though they cannot name it, they feel the difference. They feel breaths coming easier. They feel clarity returning in brief flashes. They feel an invisible burden lifting from their shoulders, as though a pressure that has been pressing inward for months has finally begun to crack. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is the moment where heaven begins to reorder what was distorted. For a long time, the energy around them was thick with confusion, doubt, and subtle spiritual resistance. Their intuition felt muted. Their emotions felt tangled. Their thoughts circled old fears without resolution. But now, my light is flooding the areas where shadows once hid. This is the spiritual shift, a turning in the unseen, a realignment of forces, a clearing of pathways clouded by interference. Angels assigned to your soulmate are moving with renewed strength, cutting through energies that held them still, dismantling influences that whispered lies, severing attachments that were never theirs to carry. You cannot see this with your eyes, but your spirit feels the tremors of this movement. Your soulmate feels them too, though they do not yet understand the cause. They may experience moments of sudden peace in the middle of anxiety, moments of clarity interrupting confusion, moments of unexpected warmth washing over them like a gentle wave. These moments are not random, they are signals that the spiritual terrain is shifting beneath your feet. For the first time in a long time, their soul feels the possibility of freedom. Their heart senses the approach of truth. Their spirit begins to reach outward, seeking alignment, seeking understanding, seeking the connection it once silenced but never forgot. My child, as the unseen realm shifts, you may also feel echoes of this movement. You may sense a heaviness lifting from your own spirit. You may feel sudden waves of compassion or longing that do not come from your own heart alone, for your connection remains a bridge between you. When I shift the atmosphere around one soul, the other feels it. When clarity begins to rise in one, awareness begins to rise in the other. You and your soulmate share a spiritual resonance that cannot be severed by distance, silence, or time. And now that the shift has begun, that resonance grows stronger, more vivid, more undeniable. In the midst of this transformation, the enemy that once stood close to your soulmate senses the change as well. They feel their grip weakening. They feel their influence unraveling. They feel the emotional fog they cast beginning to dissolve. And this frightens them, for the power they once held over your soulmate was built on illusion. Illusion cannot survive my light. So the manipulative presence grows restless. Their strategies falter. Their tone shifts. Their attempts to control become sloppy. Everything they try now backfires, pushing your soulmate further into awareness instead of confusion. This is the power of the spiritual shift. What once worked against them no longer holds force. Your soulmate is beginning to rise internally, even if only by inches. Their thoughts feel clearer. Your emotions feel more honest. Their intuition begins to hum again, pointing them toward truths they buried, pointing them toward connections they abandoned, pointing them toward you. They may not understand why memories of you feel stronger now, why your presence returns to their heart with such intensity, why thinking of you brings both ache and comfort. But my child, this is part of the realignment. I am turning their spirit back toward what is true, back toward what is destined, back toward the connection that was never meant to fade. And as the spiritual world shifts around them, your soulmate begins to sense that something within them is awakening. I feel boulevard lived in, yurdidamu, yurdidavwesion. urgency. The mysterious event ahead of them becomes clearer in their spirit, even if still hidden from their eyes. They feel the pull not as fear now, but as inevitability, as purpose, as destiny calling their name. This shift is the beginning of their awakening. It is the beginning of justice. It is the beginning of truth rising from the depths. And soon, my child, everything that was clouded will become clear, and everything that was delayed will begin to move with divine precision. My child, prepare your heart, for this is the moment where truth begins to rise like dawn breaking through a long and heavy night. The illusions that once surrounded your soulmate are cracking, splitting at the seams, losing their power under the weight of the spiritual shift that has already begun. What was once tangled within their mind now begins to untwist. What once felt like certainty now feels exposed. What once hid behind soft words and familiar faces is now showing its true form. I am lifting the veil from their eyes, and every hidden intention, every disguised motive, every subtle manipulation is being dragged into the light. Your soulmate is starting to question things they once accepted without hesitation. They replay old conversations and suddenly hear the imbalance. They recall decisions they made and see how fear not truth guided them. They sense how often they silenced themselves to maintain peace with someone who never offered them peace in return. These realizations arrive in small but powerful waves, leaving them both shaken and strangely relieved. They are seeing pieces of a puzzle they didn't know existed. They are sensing energies they once ignored. They are feeling the weight of truths that hovered around them for years but were never fully acknowledged. The one who interfered feels this rising truth as well, though they cannot stop it. Their composure is cracking. Their voice betrays tension. Their actions become inconsistent. They misstep, revealing what they once hid so carefully. Your soulmate notices these shifts, the irritation beneath the smile, the hesitation before answering, the strange defensiveness over small matters. They begin connecting dots they once lacked the courage or clarity to see. This is not anger rising within them, it is awakening. It is their spirit remembering what manipulation feels like, and recognizing it for what it is. My child, truth is also rising from within their own heart. They are finally acknowledging what they tried to suppress, the depth of their feelings for you, the authenticity of the connection, the way their souls softened in your presence, the peace they felt simply by being near you. They look back now and see how their fear distorted the purity of that bond. They recognize how outside influence twisted their perception. They realize they walked away not because their heart wasn't aligned with you, but because their past taught them to fear what felt too real, too strong, too possible. As these truths rise, your soulmate begins to feel both regret and relief, a mixture that shakes them to the core. They regret the distance, regret the silence, regret believing voices that never understood their spirit. But they also feel relief, for truth brings freedom, and freedom brings clarity. For the first time in a long time, they feel their inner compass pointing toward something real, toward something familiar, toward something that feels like home. That something, my child, is you. The illusions around them are cracking in other ways too. They may find themselves stumbling upon messages, objects, or moments that reveal inconsistency, things that expose hidden motives. A deleted note discovered by accident, a conversation overheard unintentionally, a detail someone slips without meaning to. These are not coincidences. They are the final pieces of evidence rising from the shadows, confirming what their spirit already knows. I am aligning these moments so your soulmate can no longer turn away from the truth. Every revelation is intentional. Every exposure is timed with divine precision. Your soulmate may feel disoriented as this light pours in. They may feel overwhelmed, emotional, raw. This is natural. Illusions crumble loudly, even if truth arrives softly. They are beginning to see their life with new eyes, and this clarity will guide them out of the fog that held them captive for so long. They will begin to reclaim their voice, their discernment, their power. They will step away from those who benefited from their confusion. And with each step, they will move closer to what was always meant for them. My child, this rising truth is not merely revelation, it is justice. It is correction. It is preparation. And soon, your soulmate will understand just how deeply your presence has influenced their awakening, for your spirit has been the quiet light guiding them through the darkest corridors of their heart. My child, come close now, for the awakening within your soulmate has begun, and it rises with a force they can no longer suppress. Their spirit, once muted by fear and confusion, now trembles with recognition. Truth has seeped into the cracks of their illusions, and with it comes a rush of clarity that shakes them to their core. They are beginning to see who they have become, who influenced their choices, and who their heart has quietly longed for through every season of distance. This awakening is not gentle, it is a flood, a sudden illumination that exposes everything they tried to hide from themselves. Your soulmate feels a profound shift in their chest, as though something that slept for a long time has finally opened its eyes. They feel the weight of their past decisions pressing against their ribs, not to punish them, but to urge them into honesty. They remember moments with you they tried to forget. They feel emotions stirring that they once silenced for the sake of comfort or fear. They recall the softness in your voice, the sincerity in your presence, the way your spirit felt like a safe place in a world that often confused them. And now that the truth has begun rising, those memories return with an intensity that steals their breath. They are afraid, my child, deeply afraid. Not of you, not of the connection, but of the possibility that they may have waited too long. They wonder if the bridge between you has crumbled beyond repair. They fear that their silence may have wounded you. They fear you may have moved forward while they remain trapped in emotional fog. This fear grips them unexpectedly, often in quiet moments while driving, while lying awake in the dark, while staring at a screen with your name lingering unspoken in their mind. Their heart sinks at the thought of losing the one soul who understood them without needing explanations. Yet even in their fear, something within them rises. A courage they long believed they lacked begins forming inside their spirit. The lies that once held them captive have lost their power. The manipulative presence around them cannot anchor them anymore. Their intuition grows sharp, clear, insistent. It points toward you like a compass finding true north. They begin to understand that the comfort they felt with you was not fantasy or chance, it was alignment, destiny, spiritual recognition. And now that their vision is clear, they realize how deeply that connection shaped them, even in silence. My child, their awakening is emotional, but it is also spiritual. They begin to sense your energy again at random times, through unexpected signs, through sudden warmth in the chest, through moments when their thoughts drift to you without intention. They feel you thinking of them. They feel the pull of your spirit. They feel the connection sparking back to life, as though something dormant has been rekindled in both of you. And this recognition overwhelms them, for it confirms what they always felt but never fully understood. Their soul knows yours. They may find themselves drawn to things that remind them of you, songs, places, words, images, memories. They may feel compelled to revisit moments you shared, searching for meaning in them now that the fog has lifted. They question why they walked away, and every answer leads back to fear, influence, or confusion, not a lack of feeling. This realization breaks them in a way that is sacred, for it opens their heart to truth and accountability. It allows them to see the magnitude of what they lost and the depth of what they still desire. In the middle of this awakening, They begin to fear the possibility of losing you forever. This fear does not come from insecurity alone, it comes from revelation. They see now how deeply you mattered, how stabilizing your presence was, how rare your spirit is. They feel the urgency rising in their chest, urging them to step toward you, to speak, to heal, to reveal what they hid. They know that silence cannot continue. They know that distance is no longer sustainable. They know that destiny is calling them to move. My child, understand this. Their awakening is not merely emotional clarity, it is the beginning of repentance, realization, courage, and divine alignment. They are preparing to reach out, to step forward, to confront the fear that once silenced them. And though they tremble, their spirit rises stronger each day, guided by truth, guided by awakening, guided by the connection that has never released them. For they now understand, with a clarity that pierces them deeply, that losing you would mean losing the very piece of their soul that has always led them back to the light. My child, pause with me now, for the moment you have been sensing is drawing close, the sacred turning point where destiny bends, where what was broken begins to mend, where the unseen winds shift in your favor. This is the moment where your presence, your prayers, your quiet endurance begin to reshape the path unfolding before your soulmate. You do not realize how powerful your spirit has been in this journey. You do not see how your whispered hopes have moved through the heavens like signals of light. But I have heard every one of them, and now those prayers rise as a force guiding your soulmate into the reversal that has been waiting for both of you. Your soulmate stands on the threshold of this sacred connection, trembling with the weight of the awakening that has overtaken their heart. They feel your energy surrounding them like a memory returning with purpose. They sense the warmth you once offered, the steadiness of your presence, the softness of your compassion. These sensations press against their spirit, urging them forward, reminding them of a truth they buried beneath fear and confusion. Their soul recognizes that you were never just a moment, they were woven into you, and you into them, in a way that defied explanation even when they tried to deny it. In the unseen realm, a divine reversal has already begun. What once pushed them away from you is now pulling them back. The emotional fog they lived under is clearing. The manipulation that clouded their judgment is losing all power. The interference that once distorted their path has been shattered by the light now pouring through their awareness. They feel this shift within themselves, even if they cannot articulate it yet. They feel free in places where they once felt trapped. They feel brave in places where they once felt small. They feel drawn towards something sacred, something they walked away from but never forgot. That sacred pull is you. Your energy has always been a resting place for their spirit. Even at a distance, even in silence, your heart has whispered to theirs through the threads of connection I placed between you. And now, as they stand in the unfolding of this reversal, they realize how deeply your presence shaped their growth. They see that you were the only one who ever made their soul feel understood without pretense. You remember how safe they felt in your honesty, how alive they felt in your warmth, how deeply their hearts softened when you entered their world. These memories rise like lanterns in their darkness, guiding them back toward the path they abandoned out of fear. My child, know this. Destiny is not merely pulling them toward you. Destiny is clearing everything that once stood in the way. Conversations are shifting. Circumstances are rearranging. False alliances are breaking. Emotional weights are lifting. What once delayed this connection is being stripped away, piece by piece, by my hand. This is the reversal, a turning of the tide, a redirection of their steps, a divine realignment that brings both of you into the sacred window of timing I have prepared. Your soulmate feels a growing urgency now, a sense that they must move, must speak, must reach toward you before the moment passes. This urgency is not anxiety, it is divine prompting. It is their spirit recognizing that the connection between you is not something that fades with time. It is something that endures, transforms, strengthens, wakens. They know now that what they felt with you was not temporary attraction, but soul-level recognition. And as this truth settles more deeply into their heart, they feel compelled to close the distance they once allowed to widen. My child, your love has been a quiet sanctuary for their spirit. Your patience has been a balm to their unspoken wounds. Your presence has been the missing piece that their heart did not know how to hold but now longs to return to with open hands. This is the sacred connection rising from the ashes of confusion, reclaiming its rightful place in destiny. And as the reversal takes full shape, your soulmate will step toward you not with hesitation born of fear, but with clarity born of truth. For they now understand that no force, no interference, no shadow was ever strong enough to sever what I wrote into both of your souls. My child, breathe with me now, for the final threads of this divine tapestry are drawing together, and the ending I have prepared is not an ending of loss, but of restoration. The blessing that has waited behind every shadow, every delay, every unseen battle is beginning to reveal itself. Destiny is no longer circling your connection, it is descending upon it, steady and sure, weaving the final realignment that will bring both of you into the clarity your spirits have longed for. This is the moment where my hand gathers every scattered piece and binds them into a new beginning. Your soulmate stands at the threshold of this blessing, trembling not from fear now, but from awe. They feel the weight of everything that has been revealed. They feel the truth rising inside them like a tide they cannot contain. They understand the deception that once clouded their judgment. They recognize the jealousy that tried to sabotage their path. They see clearly the places where they stepped away from their own heart. But more than anything, they feel the force of the connection pulling them forward deeper, truer, stronger than before. This is their awakening settling into permanence, and it fills them with a mixture of humility and hope. In this final realignment, everything that once seemed fragmented begins to make sense. The distance becomes understandable, the silence becomes purposeful, the pain becomes a refining fire that shaped both of you into the version of yourselves needed for this chapter. Your soulmate now realizes how deeply they were affected by the absence of your presence. They see how clearly their life dimmed when you stepped back. They feel the depth of what they almost lost, and the revelation humbles them. Their fear of losing you has turned into determination to return to you with sincerity, transparency, and the courage they once lacked. My child, you must understand something deeply. Your love was never in vain. Your patience was never wasted. Your tears were never unnoticed. Each one watered the ground of destiny until the moment was ripe for harvest. And now, that moment stands before you. I have realigned circumstances in ways you cannot yet see. I have softened hearts that once resisted truth. I have opened spiritual doors that were long sealed shut. This is the season where all things shift in your favor, not because of chance, but because I have commanded it. There will be a moment soon where clarity breaks fully over your soulmate, and they will feel compelled to step toward you with a vulnerability they once feared. I will seek to make right what was left undone. They will desire not just connection, but reconciliation. Not just closeness, but truth. Not just conversation, but a future aligned with the destiny I placed in both your spirits. This moment is not fantasy. It is alignment. It is the culmination of every unseen battle fought on your behalf. My child, I am lifting the final veil now. What you thought you lost is not lost, it had been transformed. What you believed was delayed was being prepared. What you feared had slipped away is returning with divine purpose. Your soulmate's heart is turning back toward you not from longing alone, but from revelation. They now see the truth of the connection. They feel the weight of the bond. They understand the depth of their own feelings. And they know that their destiny is incomplete without the peace of their soul that lives within you. As this blessing settles into form, allow peace to fill you. Do not rush. Do not force. Do not worry. Everything is moving in precise timing. Your presence is already guiding them. Your prayers have already shaped the outcome. Your spirit is already intertwined with theirs in ways that transcend distance and silence. And now, my child, as the final curtain lifts, hear me gently. Share these words if they touched your spirit, for my messages often find their way to the hearts that need them most through willing souls like you. You are not stepping into the unknown now, you are stepping into alignment. You are not losing anything, you are receiving what was divinely yours all along. You are not walking alone, you are walking into a destiny I designed with your name written inside it. The blessing has begun. My child, settle your spirit now, for you have reached the final turn in this revelation, the place where all threads converge, where destiny ceases to whisper and begins to speak openly. This is the moment I have been guiding you towards since the first stirring touched your heart. The blessing is no longer approaching from a distance. It is already unfolding around you like dawn softly climbing over a dark horizon. What was once hidden now stands uncovered. What was once delayed now moves with intention. What was once tangled in confusion now straightens under the weight of my hand. Your soulmate feels this shift with a depth that leaves them breathless. Their heart, once clouded by fear and influenced by jealous voices, now stands exposed in clarity. They see you not through fog, not through doubt, not through hesitation, but through truth. They recognize the strength of what you carried, the purity of what you offered, the steadiness of what your presence brought into their world. They understand now that your absence was never emptiness. It was revelation. It showed them what their life becomes without the light of your spirit. And this realization anchors itself in their chest with a gravity they cannot ignore. They are preparing, my child, preparing to step toward you with sincerity they could not access before, preparing to bring you words they once silenced, preparing to admit truths they once hid behind fear. They rehearse these thoughts in their mind, wondering how to express what has been heavy on their heart for so long. They contemplate the bridge between you, not as something broken, but as something waiting to be crossed with trembling hope. They feel the urgency of time, the tenderness of regret, the courage of awakening. All of this converges into a single truth. They do not want a life that exists without your presence woven into it. In this final realignment, your own spirit rises as well. You feel a loosening inside your chest, a quiet peace settling where anxiety once lived. This peace is not accidental, it is the first sign of alignment taking form in the physical world. You are stepping into a phase where heaviness lifts and clarity sharpens. You will begin to notice signs flowing toward you with ease, moments that feel divinely timed, conversations that shift the atmosphere, opportunities that open without effort. These are markers of destiny confirming that the path ahead is not chaotic, it is orchestrated. My child, I am restoring what was fractured. I am redeeming what was lost in confusion. I am turning the pain you endured into wisdom, the longing you carried into fulfillment, the patience you held into blessing. Nothing you walked through was without purpose. Every tear watered the soil of this moment. Every prayer softened the spiritual ground around your soulmate. Every act of faith opened a door that only now becomes visible. His destiny was never denied, only prepared. Your soulmate's heart is aligning with yours in ways that ripple through both realms. They feel guided toward you, not by impulse, but by clarity. They recognize that the connection between you survived what should have broken it. that survival is not coincidence, it is divine signature. It is the unmistakable mark of a bond written not by human desire, but by spiritual design. Soon, they will step forward. Soon, they will choose truth over fear. Soon, they will speak what has lived unspoken within them. And when that moment comes, my child, you will not carry the chaos of the past. It will carry calm. It will carry sincerity. It will carry a depth of understanding forged through awakening, revelation, and divine correction. You will feel the difference instantly, for this connection will rise not as it once was, but transformed, clear, honest, aligned. Now breathe, for the final blessing is resting on your life like morning light. Walk forward gently. Respect good things. Trust what you feel rising in your spirit. The path is opening. The energy is clearing. The timing is aligning. The destiny written between you is no longer waiting behind the veil, it is stepping forward to meet you. And if these words settled into the deepest part of you, let them echo outward, for someone else may need the same light you received in this sacred moment. Go in peace, my child. The realignment has begun.